Hi there, it's Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder here this week's episode of the Tuesday Brewsday, where I showcase one of the brews that I'm working on. Still liking Standard. I know, I need to get back to playing MTGO and trying out Pioneer, Pauper, even Modern. I've got a lot of things on my to-do list. I just prefer Arena. I don't think I'd ever say that, but I just prefer the simplicity of being able to basically acquire every card in the entire game without spending a penny, whereas MTGO is definitely something you can make money on by buying and selling cards, but with the market being so crazy, with them being able to print anything in the treasures, I gave up on the finance sort of thing on MTGO a couple of years back, and Arena's just been my jam. I have my own complaints with this. You've heard me before on this channel of the Arena, especially the Shuffler and some other stuff with it, but I just do enjoy Arena over MTGO. So anyway, we're going to showcase another Standard brew. This week I'm going to show off my Sultai Dredge deck. So there's no Dredge, of course, in Standard, but it's just a self-mill strategy. Does extremely well against Mono Red. So if you're looking for a deck that does great versus like Food, Rakdos Knights, Mono Red, in the best of one format, this is where I highly suggest you play it, is the best of one, because the best of two seems to have more ramp control, Jeskai Fires, Wilderness Reclamation, those type of decks, rather than just about 80% of all decks being aggro in the best of one. So this is an anti-aggro shell, which is actually an aggro deck itself, and we'll go ahead and look at the list. So this is utilizing two new cards, well, I guess four cards from the Theros block that are pretty strong right now, with the first one being the Mire Triton. This is a Death Touch, gain 2 life, and put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Pretty solid card to be just a roadblock for you to stabilize and then get to your big beaters. The Death Touch is also super relevant because this is quite aggressive if you think about it on the aggro side of things, because it's going to get in there for trade with anything bigger than it, get in there for 2 damage, and Death Touch actually hooks up quite well to the Shadowspear, which has trample. I know it's only a 2/1, but if you even pair this with like the Great Henge late game, it comes a 3/2, hook up to Shadowspear, it's a 4/3. That's actually quite relevant as a threat at that point. So let's just get down the list here. The list is about getting the big beaters out as quickly as possible, and then getting the Shadowspear hooked up to one of them, or the Great Henge to draw you a ton of cards. Now, this is very, very far away from being fine-tuned. I have a long ways to go, so this is just kind of the rudimentary first draft of this particular deck before we start figuring out the numbers. Haven't created a sideboard yet because I have not played this in a best of 3. Best of 3, you'd probably just have your usual suspects like Agonizing Remorse, Aether Gust, those type of cards that would just play against other of the main decks in the meta. So we'll get to that eventually. So let's go down the list. The first one is to be Gilded Goose. I like this as our 1-drop because it allows you to curve into a turn 2 Rotting Regisaur, or turn 2 Temerit Calls the Dead. So both of those are pretty good on turn number 2. They're, of course, better than turn number 3, so Gilded Goose is going to accelerate us to get there. Shadowspear is the whole reason to be running this deck, because this just blanks a ton of decks in the format. If you get like a Shadowspear versus like Teamer Adventures, or against Mono Red aggro, or Gruul aggro, or Rakdos Knights, or even Rakdos Sacrifice, even Food to a point, a lot of times the Shadowspear will put you over the top when you're hooking up to big beaters like Rotting Regisaur, or Lovestruck Beast, Questing Beast, or Molder Hulk. They are going to be gaining a lot of life. Your opponents aren't going to keep up with the race. And that's exactly what Shadowspear is in here for. The permanents your opponents control lose hexproof is also super relevant in this deck, because it can make things that have indestructible or hexproof lose that hexproof. We don't have any actual targeted removal, so I guess it isn't as relevant as I would say, but I suppose you could easily run the Knight, the Adventure, the one that destroys a Planeswalker or a creature, or some other sort of removal spells, and then Shadowspear, of course, would be great versus like Dream Trawler to make it lose hexproof. Plukernos, there's the one. Yeah, I knew there was one interaction in this deck. Plukernos and Shadowspear is a really good combo versus Dream Trawler. Happens all the time. All right, so then we go down to the Rotting Regisaur. This card is actually super good as a 7/6 that then Shadowspear gives trample to. And you're not going to worry too much about the discard. If you have a Register out, they're going to be reacting to it, and pretty soon you can take over the game. Against Bant Ramp, I was able to go turn 2 Riding Register into turn 3 Riding Register with a Gilded Goose, and my opponent played tap land, die. And so it was a pretty funny game versus that one. Temeric Calls the Dead is super good versus mid-range control and aggro right now. This is probably one of the whole reason to be running the deck right now. You self-mill 6 cards off of Temeric Calls the Dead. You get 2/2 zombies. It's usually always going to hit. And the Scry and Gain Life is also very relevant to then hit you into cards that you are going to be wanting. So this is a way to get rid of like excess Shadowspears and Great Henges, is then scrying them away. We do running a full 3 play set of both of them. I was thinking of possibly going like Tameo in this deck and then going a 2/2 package, but I think Shadowspear and Great Henge you want to see every game, and so running a 3 of copy of those is ideal. Lovestruck Beast, really good card. Just a 5/5 for 3 mana, and you get the 1/1 out of the Heart's Desire. We don't have a lot of other ways to create 1/1s. I think this is really the only way. So Lovestruck Beast is kind of awkward in this deck, but if you can keep that 1/1 alive and then hook up the Lovestruck Beast like a Shadowspear, I mean, this is a great defensive card too to get to your bigger beaters. Euro is in here if this is the whole reason to be self-milling this in Plukernos. So Euro is going to escape as a 6/6, and a 6/6 with Shadowspear becomes a 7/7. The Great Henge is kind of cool with Euro because even if you cast it on the 3, you still draw a card, and then you gain the life and draw another card, and then when it comes back into play, same thing, you're drawing 2 cards off of Euro Titan of Nature's Wrath. So we're going to play a full play set. Only run of 1 Questing Beast because there's not really room. Questing Beast is nice with Shadowspear because Death Touch Trample is great. However, I think that you want the other big beaters in this deck over Questing Beast. The legendary creature is also quite awkward if you get multiples. But again, the numbers aren't in for this particular deck, so Questing Beast is just a 1-of. 2-of is Plukernos. Plukernos we want to get a lot of advantage out of the graveyard, coming back to the 12/12 to hook up to Shadowspear. For the Great Henge, it can come in as a 13/13, which is really, really powerful. And at this format, Plukernos can then fight cards. Pretty solid card. Then next is the Store of Devkrin Lich. So this is like a card that is surprising hasn't seen any play in Standard, because I know it has a lot of there's a lot of cards that it's competing for its slot, but a 5/4 trampling for 4 mana is not too shabby. Then when it does deal combat damage to a player, you can return a creature back from your graveyard to your hand. So this card, I think, wanted better ETB type cards, Enter the Battlefield type effect cards in the format, and there wasn't really anything that had the best curve width. The only card that I really think is like Plaguecrafter. So Plaguecrafter into Store of, and then Store of Attack and to get back a Plaguecrafter is pretty good. Or in like a sacrifice type shell. I wonder if like a black-green sacrifice strategy would be viable with Midnight Reaper, Plaguecrafter. At that point, you can run. I mean, this could kind of be like a mono black because of the 2 black devotion for like the Grey Merchant of Asphodel and the Shepherd type strategy with the Woe Strider, but I don't know if that is where I want to be. Speaking of Woe Strider, that is a card that is definitely in consideration for this particular deck. I thought with as much self-mill as we have right now with Plukernos and Euro, that's a better way to go than going into like the Woe Strider. But cutting blue, like literally we are only running blue in this deck for Euro. So you could definitely just cut Euro if you so choose for Woe Strider, and that actually might be a pretty decent little strategy with Store of Devkrin Lich, and then go like Midnight Reapers over something like Lovestruck Beast, and then going even instead of Shadowspear and the Great Henge, go like the Cat strategy. So it definitely would change this up quite a bit. Maybe Rotting Registrar wouldn't be in here, but I could definitely think like a strategy of going Store of Devkrin with a black-green sacrifice could actually be viable in this particular format. Next up was we have the Great Henge. This gets reduced. Really good with Rotting Registrar. Really good with Plukernos and Euro, even Lovestruck Beast reducing the cost of it. And then another card that can reduce the cost is Molder Hulk. Now this was a little bit tougher to get for casting for 2. The Triton is really how you're going to get it, is like Triton. into Temerit's Call of the Dead, but Temerit Call of the Dead is kind of a non-bow with Molder Hulk because you will want to be sacrificing or exiling a creature card to get a 2/2 zombie, so you are going to be eating one of your own cards for Molder Hulk to be reduced. So Molder Hulk might end up getting the cut in this deck. It is one of those cards that I thought was going to be really, really potent in this deck, but we'll have to wait and see if like just going into heavier into Questing Beast is a better strategy than going into Molder Hulk. So our mana base is just Shock, 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 Forests, Swamp, Island, and then 4 Fabled Passages, because Fabled Passages help us with the Polukranos and the Euros. All right, that is the deck tech. Again, no sideboard at the moment, but we'll go ahead and play some best of one and lose some rank here. So far I'm 3-0 with the deck, after I've made some changes to it. Mono Red, Gruul, and Bant Ramp all went down pretty spectacularly. It wasn't even close in any of those games. As against Gruul, the Great Henge just got out of control, and my opponent just couldn't attack into 7/6s and 5/5s, and eventually I just outpaced him. And funny thing about that too is Shadowspear took away the Hexproof and Indestructible from a couple of the cards in that Gruul matchup. Mono Red just scooped to a Shadowspear and Rotting Regisaur, and then the other matchup was just Rotting Regisaur and Rotting Regisaur. And then took over the game quite quickly. So Sultai Dredge it is, and let's go ahead and see if we can get those mono red matchups. So Goose is actually a pretty good turn 1 drop versus mono red, and yeah, Gyro is super good too. So again, this is just kind of a meta call deck. We're going up a Jace icon though, so don't think we're going to be going against mono red. And this is kind of an awkward card. I think we're going to keep it because Great Henge and Lovestruck Beast is pretty solid. We might not be able to get there though with Mire Triton. We are on the draw though. So like you gotta think about this hand. Like, would this be a keepable 6 hand if we just cut Shadowspear? And I think it would be. So I mean, this is like a mulligan. This is a pretty decent mulligan hand, and a Shadowspear would be the card we put on the bottom. So I'm definitely just going to keep it. And we can actually cast Shadowspear to put another card in the graveyard for Euro, by the way. That's not terrible. So it is mono red. Look at this. Ooh, Shadowspear. I don't know if this is mono red. So a Jace deck is going to run out of Shadowspear. We're going to run out of Lovestruck Beast. And we did miss our first draw for a land, which is not where we want to be, but we do have a play next turn. So Robert the Rich is going to come down. Unfortunately, he's going to find a land off the top, Wampa Wampa Scampa, and we take 2. We actually have to shock ourselves, and now we miss the other land, but we will pay 2 life, get the 2 life back from the Mire Triton, and the Mire Triton is going to find 5 lands in the graveyard, even though it only mills 2. Okay, and it doesn't mill any, so that was actually pretty good. And yeah, we'll get in there for 1 with the good old human token. So Robert the Rich should be able to trade with Mire Triton. I wonder if my opponent's going to hook up Shadowspear. All right, cool. Cool. All right, finds another Timurit. Calls the Dead. We didn't want to see that. So we should have some lands coming up. And I don't think there's anything my opponent can really put on the Robber the Rich here. Yeah, just save it. There's no like first strike card. Infuriate doesn't even save. So kind of a weird attack by my opponent. Maybe they just drop a land and go Temerit. That'd be pretty decent actually. Oh, look at that. Decides to go for Rotting Regisaur. I don't know if I agree with that play. Unfortunately, I think we're just going to lose based upon keeping a 2-lander and then not drawing a land. So we've all been there. This is one of those scenarios that just kind of sucks for us, as we're going to die from the Rotting Regisaur. And I'm actually, do I cast the other Shadowspear just to put a card in the graveyard for Polukranos? I don't think so. So, opponent discards a card. They have to make a decision, though, to actually cast a card in their hand or put something on, or put Shadowspear on the Rotting Regisaur. So let's see what ends up happening. All right, so that's where they're going to go. So I'm going to take 8 here. Yeah, I actually don't see a way of getting out of this. I have to like Lovestruck Beast. No, I don't see a way of getting out of this. So I need to actually draw another Death Toucher here. Hey, we did. Stupid, though, that we still have not hit a land. This is Arena at its best, so that's a full mulligan. I guess our opponent did hit a land. And there's our land in the form of the Tritons. So I guess we'll get in for 1. There's no point, right? So we got to worry about like a Bone Crusher Giant. And my opponent gets rid of a Robber the Rich. I guess that's relevant. And there's the Bone Crusher. Of course, my opponent's last card in hand is a Bone Crusher Giant. Why wouldn't it be? So I think we're just dead here. I don't think there's anything that can actually get us out of this whatsoever. And it's a Molder Hulk. So Empty Arena decides that we do not get to play Magic, which is nice. We always like it. We're not a low land count deck whatsoever. We have 25 lands in the deck. So just the typical two-lander. This is something I keep finding over and over on MTG Arena is two-landers are traps. It's like the probability of drawing a land after you keep a two-lander is way worse than keeping a four-lander for some reason on Arena. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and queue up again. We'll just call that one a wash here. Ugh. Possibly mulligan. Like I said, it was on the verge of being keepable or shipping it back, but what a joke. Not hitting a land in all of those turns. So shock, shock, shock. We'll actually keep this. This is pretty decent. Lovestruck Beast can go into Great Henge pretty easily. Opponent plays an island. We draw one of our basic. Oops, I should have actually Lovestruck Beast, I think. I don't know. It doesn't matter. We can just do it this turn with another shock and avoid the damage. But see if this is mono or blue flash. Not mono blue flash. Usually it's like with a green. See if they quench this. Nope. All right. So Lovestruck Beast. Okay, so it is Flash. Most annoying deck ever created in Magic. And now we are kind of at the whims of everything being countered. Let's make them counter something useless. Should counter this. I think at this point with Flash with the Brinebork Cutthroat. This is another one of those decks that if you run blue Flash or any version with Brinebork Cutthroat, Arena guarantees that you have a Brinebork Cutthroat in your opening hand. So go ahead and play the deck because the deck is absolute trash if you don't have a turn 2 Brinebork Cutthroat. But that's just me being salty. Opponents can go Shadowspear here now. Ugh. And gets in for 4 and keeps up another counterspell. So we need to bait off the other counterspell with something we don't care about. Unfortunately, we hit the wrong mana for Gilded Goose. That's both of our basic islands, which is terrible. So we will go another Euro. I think we're dead, though, to the Brinebork Cutthroat. Again, this card is such a trash card unless you get it on turn number 2. If you don't have it on turn number 2, it's so slow to get going. We could still be okay, though. Like, our opponent has to draw another counterspell, otherwise, what do we... No, we actually... Yeah, we get a Lovestruck Beast, which we can trade. Yeah, I can actually trade with Brinebork. And they've actually already used the Brazen Borrower. Failed Passage is nice, though. It can go Questing Beast. Is Questing Beast better, though? No, I think it's still Lovestruck Beast. I actually do think it's Lovestruck. So we're going to go Lovestruck Beast. Unfortunately, though, if my opponent's got another Brazen Borrower, I'm going to go Quench. I'm going to actually pay it, but it gets above. So Brinebork Cutthroat, Quench, Mystical Dispute, and Brazen Borrower. Oh boy, today is not our day. And Teferi Time Raveler to bounce. That's okay. No, Trample. Trample's going to get us here. So we're taking 7. Oh, we can actually, if we draw another green source. Yeah, if we draw another green source, I think we're actually okay. That will actually do it. That's fine. So we can go Lovestruck Beast and Shadowspear and see if there's a third Quench and see if our opponents are just magical Christmas landing us today. Let's go Shadowspear and equip. Well, we lose to so many cards here. We lose to any bounce spell like a Brazen Borrower. We also lose to another Teferi. Well, I guess that's another bounce spell. Don't lose to that. Opponent is going to attack in and just trade? That is a pretty terrible trade. So, yeah, I'm not understanding that play. I still think... Okay, the best play here is just going to be Questing Beast. It's probably going to get countered because, of course, the last... Oh, really? Last card to hand is not. Maybe our opponent has another bounce spell. Oh, look at that. We are back in this game, folks. So I'm going to go Brazen Borrower. which is going to be a nuisance, but, I mean, we're fine. Brazen Borrower with Shadowspear is not going to be able to keep up the tempo of the Shadowspear questing beast. And we also are coming up on Euros. We need one more card in the... whoa, whoa, whoa! Why didn't my opponent just cast that to kill my questing beast? That seems like a really bad play. Right? Yeah, I don't understand that whatsoever. We'll cast Great Henge. Get it out. There's one. I was like, my opponent's out of cards here, but my opponent is not out of cards. Let's go Gilded Goose. And let's go ahead and throw out... Whew, this one's kind of interesting here. I still think we go with the Rotting Regisaur. This one should get quenched. Nope, no quench, no Sinister Sabotage. And yeah, I think I'm going to cut Molder Hulk after this game. It just seems like it's too hard to get to really utilize, and maybe put in more... I wonder what this deck wants more of, like maybe a Glowspore Shaman? It's going to be one of those games where we both are going to gain a ton of life. So we'll get rid of the Molder Hulk. It's kind of an awkward card at the moment. Start off with a Triton. And my auto tap is trying to use both my green sources. Gotta love auto tap here on Arena. Go ahead and draw a card and mill. And then we could go a Euro. I think it is going to be... Euro here. Let's exile the other Euro in the graveyard. And then... That doesn't matter what we exile. We don't really get anything back. Yeah, Molder Hulk's weird. Molder Hulk's definitely not a card that I think I want to be playing. We want another big beater. Like, Storev actually seems pretty good in higher quantities. Alright, we can still do the Timrit Calls the Dead if we wanted to, but we're going to go with another Triton. And we'll do a Goose with our food. So the Great Henge just really got us back in this game. And we're going to go to attack, and I'm sure my opponent's going to tap down the Questing Beast. Yeah, that's fine. And then we can attack in with the Regisaur. Now, my opponent has a lot of cards in hand. Be interesting what they... Another Cutthroat. All right, so Cutthroats, of course, coming late, like I said, are pretty trash. They don't have enough cards to really pump them up. The Brazen Borrower gets in for 4. That's fine. And we will draw a ton of cards this next turn. I wonder what the better card to throw away. Like, I still want land drops, but I think we're going to find a land drop off the Great Henge, off of, like, Storev. So I'm going to get rid of the Breeding Pool. Yeah, we're really good on lands. And there's a Goose. We'll cast the Goose first because it's just easy money. And there's our land. So let's go ahead and just get a basic forest. And now we can go Storev. Yeah, I'm really liking this card. I wonder if it is the route to go. I wonder if there's like a blue... Are we missing a blue card that might just be better to be running here? I'm thinking maybe like the 5/4 flying card for 2 mana. It has each player just mills a card, which actually might be pretty good in this one. Maybe we'll test that card out. Let's go with another Gilded Goose. What if my opponent is running like Time Wipe? They could be, but I mean, Great Henge is giving us value here. And let's go to combat. So my opponent will want to probably tap down Euro, I would assume. That's what I would do. Yep, gonna go for Euro. And so we'll attack in with the team. No, not you, Gilded Goose. We'll attack in with these ones. And opponent's going to trade a Brian Bart with a Triton. And we will put out a Timrit, Calls the Dead. And get a 2/2. And put out... Nope, we'll just leave the rest of them. Alright, so Opt isn't going to do anything off the Spectral Sailor. And there is the Scooposaurus. So, yep, we came back pretty... my opponent definitely made some massive play mistakes there. But the deck is... This is what I like about it. It stabilizes, then it has the ability just to really go crazy. So, let's make some additions, subtractions to this deck. I'm going to get rid of the Molder Hulk. I kind of want to Fave Wishes in this deck just because I like Fave Wishes in every deck. But we're gonna stop the temptation, and I think it's called Vantress Gargoyle. Yeah. So let's get rid of the Molder Hulks. Let's put in some Vantress Gargoyles. So this with card is can't attack unless defending player has 7 or more cards in their graveyard, and it can't block unless you have 4 or more cards in hand. So the whole point though of the Vantress Gargoyle is to get the Great Henge online. And it's also a decent Shadowspear target. I don't know if this is where we want to be. Like I said, it's quite awkward as both an attacker and a blocker. It should be okay as a blocker when we need it to be versus like mono red. But like you'd want cards that mill both players. And I guess Vantress Gargoyle does mill both players. Let's just try a 2-of and see how it works. Storev wouldn't be a bad play, neither Questing Beast. And I'm sure there's some other cards that we might be just not thinking about that could go well in this particular deck in blue or black. Of course, there's like Cavaliers wouldn't be bad. The Black Cavalier. Anything else with it is just a big, beefy body would be, pretty decent as well. But anyway, that's what I would change at the moment. I think the Vantress Gargoyle has a lot of synergy with the rest of the deck. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and play another one. We're 1-1. That one at least was a better showing. My opponent did get flooded there at the end. However, the first matchup was still pretty ridiculous with that 2-lander not drawing lands. Alrighty, so this is definitely keepable hand. We have a first turn Gilded Goose into a second turn Triton. Or we could just go Fabled Passage. Nah, we'll do this turn. We'll put out the Gilded Goose. And then we will go... Yeah, we'll go Triton. That's still the better. Uh-oh. We are going up against control. We need to get that Great Henge as quickly as possible. So that's actually... Let's change things up. Let's go Timrit. We do want to find one more land. Oh, there is Storev that goes away, but we get at least a 2/2 out of it. And yeah, we'll have Triton to give more ammo. Oh, we're not. We're going against Bant here. So Timrit does hit, and we can just get rid of Vantress Gargoyle. What if like Fine Finale would be good in this deck? Unfortunately, we miss things here. I actually should do Fabled Passage before I do a Triton because I could hit something that I wanted to. Like, we could hit 2 islands, for example, and then I don't have the option of actually grabbing an island. But, I mean, we're going to want to get a green source anyway. So we'll go ahead and get that basic forest. And attack in with the zombie. So I feel quite far behind versus this deck because they're going to start to get, what can come out here? Teferi? Well, Teferi would be awkward because Teferi would just die and not get... Yeah, okay, Shadow the Sky. Shadow the Sky's okay. Yeah, that keeps us off. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Unfortunately, we miss. I don't want to go Regisar here because then I think it just gets bounced. The better play... I need to get Gilded Goose so I can get Euro online. So we're gonna go Gilded Goose, and then go Lovestruck Beast, and then go Shadowspear. Because I definitely, I think like Nissa is going to come down. Yeah, I think my opponent is going to, yep, there's Nissa. So this is Bant Ramp. This is a very, very popular best of 3 deck. It's terrible in my opinion though versus mono red. Too many tap lands and things like that. We'll go ahead and no blockers. We'll get Euro out here. Euro will probably get Teferi'd after that, I would assume. But we are kind of on a clock. Okay, so we don't have to use the Gilded Goose now. The things we can't utilize, lands and weak creatures. I guess Shadowspear is better than that. And I guess we'll throw in the Overgrown Tomb. Does it do anything? Allow to hook up the Shadowspear right now on Euro? Nah, I don't think that's where we want to be with the token, the gold token. Pass the turn here. Unfortunately, Nissa, if it's Hydrokrasis, which is one of the last 2 cards in the hand, we're in trouble. It's a Euro of my opponent's, which is okay. They don't have the cards quite yet to get Euro back. I wonder if my opponent wants to suicidal land into one of my Euros and then another Euro. So now my opponent does have enough to get the other Euro back. So pretty good sequence there, especially when it's a Fabled Passage off the top. So Fabled Passage goes to the graveyard, and now my opponent can get back Euro. Can they do that? Yes, they can. They'd have to tap the temple. So, jeez, that was not a good turn for us. We're going to have to attack him with our Euro and hook it up to Shadowspear. But I feel super far behind now. And it isn't a land. So opponent's going to go for an island. And I do have to attack here. I have to go Shadowspear in on Euro. And go to combat, attack into Nissa. This is like the only way we can get through this. That's awful. Like, okay, oh, my push is going on the Grazer, huh? That's fine. That's actually really good for us. We got some card advantage off of it. The problem here, like, what do we actually want? Like, Registar actually seems okay. Yeah, well, let's go with the Registar here. And we just need to avoid Hydroid Krasis. If we can avoid a Hydroid Krasis, we're actually fine. Elspeth Conquers Death. Let's be interesting where my opponent goes here. Probably on the Euro. Okay. Yep. But that's not the worst thing. Now I'm wondering where my opponent's going to attack with Euro. Okay, I am going to make this trade. I hate making this trade, but I need to. It finds a growth spiral. Like, I don't want my opponent to find cards in graveyard. So blockers, I could actually make my opponent block a lot, but Elspeth Conquers Death's just going to get back. Yeah, we're going to make the trade. I actually have relevant cards in my hand. Unfortunately, didn't I exile my Euro with a Euro too? No, that was last game. Opponent has another Euro? Where'd that come from? Was there still a card in hand? Oh, Growth Spiral found a Euro? Are you kidding me? Ay. That's annoying. So, we did not want to find a land. But we can go Polukranos, and I will go Temerit as well. Like, Polukranos is fine. Temerit Calls the Dead's also okay. We find another Euro and another Euro. And we can just get rid of the... So it's enchantment or creature, so we can just get rid of the Temerit that went away. Oh, we're getting lucky missing the Hydrokrasis, but I'm assuming it's coming here. And my opponent's getting back Euro again, because they are finding every Fabled Passage in their entire deck. That's annoying. And Nissa's just going to get too much. Just chaining these Euros. Euro into Euro into Euro into Euro. So, unfortunately, I can't... Oh, I'm going to cast another Nissa. That's kind of awkward because they're going to get back another Nissa after that. Thing is, I'm going to start shooting down these lands, I believe. No, my opponent's going to go... Just wanted some fodder in for Euro. Ay, ay, ay. Interesting attacks. So, we'll block a Plukernos. And there's no way we can cut out of getting this Euro back. I think we do want to make a trade as much as possible. So opponent's going to exile 5 more cards. So draws yet another card. And a Knight of Autumn to kill my Shadowspear. Main board Knight of Autumn, huh? Whoa! Goes for Temerit. That is not what you want to be doing, my friend. Temerit's just going to give me one more zombie. That's a... I don't know, not the best of play in my opinion. But who am I? Alright, so we will exile some cards here to get our own Euro back. And maybe hook up a... Oh, put the island into play. So we could cast a Lovestruck Beast, or we could hook up a Shadowspear, or we could kill a land. I mean, there's quite a bit of options. I think the best thing we can do, though, is just to hook up this Euro and hope my opponent doesn't draw an Elspeth Conquers Death off the top. Oh, I guess I can still go another. Do you want a food token? I think so. We'll pay the 2 life. So this is going to bring back what? Euro? From the graveyard? Which is just drawing a card. But you got to think Hydroichrasis. Where's that Hydroichrasis for 5 billion here? Well, opponent did draw the Elspeth Conquers Death off the draw from the Euro, which is super obnoxious. Yeah, I think that's going to spell a game here. Man, the chains, just finding the perfect cards from quite annoying here. So I still think we want to like take care of a land. So we'll actually block here and just here. We need to absorb some damage. I'll go ahead and create a food token. And unfortunately, opponent still has another card that drew off the attacking Euro. So that first initial Euro that was able to chain was able just to draw just an insane amount of cards. Can't even use a Euro because we don't have enough. So I think just Lovestruck Beast. I'm surprised my opponent's playing like terribly. The Blessing Teferi was absolute trash. Should have waited for that when I cast a creature here, and then you could bounce the creature. So my opponent's trying everything to lose, but they're still in pretty decent shape. I'm just going to go Regisar Shadowspear here. I think that's actually better. But at this point, though, I don't think there's any chance of us coming back. This Nissa's just got too much advantage. Opponent can do a Euro again from the graveyard when I have to trade here with the Rotting Regisar. And is going to gain even more card advantage with the attack. Knight of Autumn again to kill my other Shadowspear. This time they have to choose the right target because there isn't some. I guess they could have gone for the food token. And at this point, yeah, my opponent will attack him with everything. I have to, that will force a block on Euro. And I'll just be too far behind. Then they'll cast another one. Hit land drops too like crazy off of the Euros. This is where Fine Finality would be insane. Possibly we could run a one of. So this has to trade. And then we have to go on. Like a dual land here's fine. But now opponent casts Euro back again. Because now there is plenty of cards in the graveyard. And most likely we'll draw a Teferi. Or another Elspeth. But what can I actually even accomplish here? And that is definitely not a card that I wanted to see. And we don't have a Shadowspear anymore either. So we just don't have enough to block. Well, we can't. We can utilize this as a blocker, which is one less damage. So we'll pay it. And that gives us a... Oh, we shouldn't have done that. That was pretty bad. Yeah, I can't block enough creatures here. All right, we'll go on to the next one here with our good game spammer, Luxac LMP234. Wow, I'm salty today. Again, that was some pretty poor decision making, but that's just the power of Euro. It can get you out of some pretty tight situations, like Euro Nissa and chaining and chaining and chaining and chaining and chaining. Can really put you over card advantage, especially when you're hitting land drops that then attack in and die and give you some more, food for Euro. Let's go ahead and keep this hand. Let's see how well the Vantress Gargoyle actually does in this opener here. So we're going up against a Diamond player. That means they've been, I think that, what's the season limit been going on since Sunday, so only a couple days. And Temple of Abandon, it's usually Wilderness Wreck. Ugh. All right, so... Let's go Gargoyle. We need to get the Gargoyle out. And pass the turn. Oh, Zerta! That's awesome. So this Gargoyle is going to do wonders. Yeah, we'll shock ourselves here and go Timorate. But now I can't block, actually. And we can get rid of just a Lovestruck Beast is fine for 2/2. And then pass the turn. So this Zerta Goblin gets to get in here for damage. However, we can start milling and hopefully find like a Euro. Domri. Can have it fight maybe my goose, huh? That's fine. I think that's a waste of a -2. Especially when I put attacks in. Weird game. Or weird opponents lately. Alright, taking the damage. There must be like an Ember Cleave my opponent's going for because Domri dies now to a zombie. And let's get rid of the goose. Put down another zombie. We can actually block now if I don't play anything, but that's not where I want to go. Let's go Fabled Passage. And still need a green source, I believe, here. And we'll do another Timorate. Get another 2/2. I guess we'll go the goose. Yeah, Vantress Gargoyle is just not going to be able to block. That's the weird thing with this particular card. We do get another card in my opponent's graveyard, though. I wonder if, like, Binding... Like, Vantress Gargoyle and Binding of the Titans would be a pretty good card. Other than that, it begins to be a non-bow 2, and we exile a couple cards from my opponent's graveyard after that. I hate this thing. So let's go ahead and tap Gargoyle. See where my opponent's going to go for. Probably just a zombie. What? Ew, weird. So we got Great Henge here on top. Then Regisar. I don't think we care about any of these going away. They're all solid. But we want Great Henge. Ooh, maybe we don't want Great Henge because can we cast it? Yeah, because Euro's going to come out. So it doesn't really matter. Rotting Registrar, can we cast? No, we can't. Well, we can. So we have 4, 4... Nope. It's going to be 1 off. So maybe... Yeah, it doesn't matter here. Oh, wait, we had to mill those because the other Timurit. Oops. I guess it doesn't matter. We don't know what's coming up. I should have done the stack the other way. I think I have auto-stacking on this computer. I need to fix that. Let's go ahead and crack this for a black. That's the only thing that costs the other double. And we'll go Euro. Which finds Pelucranos, which you can't quite cast. And pass the turn. This is going to force us to attack with everything. The Vantress Gargoyle can actually attack into us. I think I will block with a Gilded Goose. It's probably worthwhile. I do gain quite a bit of life and scry. Yeah, we will make that block. What is it trying to do? Pass the blockers, block here, block, and then make a food. I have to attack him with all my zombies. Shifting Ceratops. That is annoying. Do we go Rotting Regisar over... So Scry... I don't think I want any of these. I think we're going to throw them all away. Possibly Lovestruck Beast is okay to keep on top. No, because I want to like hit another Great Henge or a Shadowspear. So we're going to scry them all. And see, Euro can't block Shifting Ceratops. Pelucranos and Rotting can, but I think this is still better. So let's get rid of like useless stuff here. Like the lands. And we do find a Shadowspear. Perfect. So that's what we were going for. So I don't know if my opponent can actually beat this Shadowspear. We need to hook it up to Euro. Only 2 of these get through. I could die to an Embercleave, to be honest here. We get back the Gargoyle. Opponent should have tapped the Gargoyle in response. I can't actually even block with the Gargoyle, though. Which is now assessing this card might not be as good. Shadowspear of my opponents as well. Gonna hook up the Shifting Ceratops to the... Okay, weird. So, oh yeah, because protection. We can just do Shadowspear. This doesn't have reach. Can gain reach, so kind of awkward. So do we go for like a Rotting Regisar and hook the Shadowspear up to the Regisar? I think Shadowspear up on the Euro is fine, actually. So let's go ahead and equip. This is card advantage. And see what it gets us. My opponent's blocking, but we're gaining life. Our opponent's going to be gaining life. But we definitely want card advantage. And that actually allows for Pelucranos, so we'll actually do that. I think it's slightly better than a Registar at this point. Okay, going to go for the Goblin. That's fine. We'll kill the Goblin. And now we can just recast Euro. Oh, no, we can't. We don't have the the cards in... No, we don't have the mana for it currently. So Pelucranos coming out here. This can be a great card to hook up. So didn't want to go with the Vantress Gargoyle because my opponent did have 1 mana open and then could just block. So reach, trample, haste. We do still have to worry about Embercleave. My opponent's like short on mana to really chain off for an Embercleave. So I'm thinking their hand is full of goodies. Like the worst case scenario is like Domri's Ambush on Plukranos. But then that gives us the Plukranos that's coming back as a really big creature. Wait, we couldn't even attack anyways. My opponent's still at 7. Interesting. Like Shadowspear, hook up, kill, shifting Ceratops seems okay. We could also go just Euro. Euro never seems like a bad play to get out. Just get some of these useless cards. Because the card advantage is going to be quite good from Euro. And we'll just hook up the Shadowspear to Polyu. And then, yeah, I don't think it's worthwhile to attack in, so no attacks. Opponent still needs some decent lands. Like, Embercleave actually can come out this turn. And that would actually be pretty bad. My opponent's just going to scoop it up, though. Because he doesn't care. I don't care. All right, so another win. Let's play one more. And that puts us at the good old hour mark for this video. So the deck's doing all right. Vantress Gargoyle, I don't know. I don't know if it's where we want to be. I like the 2 of. I also like the idea of playing 2 Fae of Wishes. You should try it. If you have a blue deck, just splash. Or just... I guess, yeah, splash, I guess, is the right word. Just throw in a couple fairies, and it gives you access to 15 sideboard cards. And that's where you can put cards like Thought Distortion. You could put things like Unmoored Ego that just wreck particular decks right now. You can then put things like Fine Finality or Ritual of Soot or, anything that can just get you out of tricky situations. I like to see red. Red would be a very, very fun matchup right here because we do have the Vantress Gargoyle. He can come out this turn, and then we can start playing defensively. Man, I guess the Gargoyle does work too with Great Hinge. That was the whole point to it. So Fervent Champion, perfect. Opponent's gonna attack and just make me block. Nope. Okay, so we'll go Gargoyle here. What do we need? A black and a blue. So Gargoyle can attack here, or can block. Sorry, and we'll pass the turn. So a big 5/4 wall that my opponent has to deal with. There's a Robber of Rich. Can't attack in. Now we'd have to make a decision with the Vantress Gargoyle. I think just getting Rotting Registrar hooked up to a interesting play here. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and go Registrar. So there's a huge nombo with Vantress Gargoyle Registrar here too as well. We'll go ahead and use our Gilded Goose for the Shadowspear because we do want mana now because Triton gone and we draw into a land. We can do Love Struck Beast and equip, or does it matter? Actually, Love Struck Beast seems okay. Let's go Love Struck Beast. And then we can pass the turn. We'll have to throw the Rotting Registrar in, or throw the Mire Triton in the bin. This is getting risky if our opponent does get an Annex here, because Annex Embercleave just ruins anyone's day. Gonna go a Shock. This is definitely my opponent just going for a light up the stage. So worse things could have happened. Opponent played a land drop. Yes, they did. So this will be for next turn, but we get another Fervent Champion. And we can mill, which is getting Vantress closer to be able to attacking in. All right, so Triton in the graveyard. Hopefully we draw a land. We do. This can just come into play tap, though, because there's no point. We can go Shadowspear. Shadowspear on our good friend, the Rotting Registrar. And we're still going to leave the Registrar back. until Vantress Gargoyle can start attacking. Then we can play the whole... Geez, I hope my opponent doesn't have like a claim the firstborn in their main. Another robber. Does my opponent just start throwing things at me here? I think so. I think my opponent should just start throwing robbers here. Nope. Okay, I disagree with that play by my opponent. Oh, we milled a Great Henge. No. That hurts. So now we get Forest is still what we want. We'll go ahead and attack in with Mr. Regisar. Want to block with everything, my friendo? No. All right, so we're back up to 22. And now we can go Lovestruck Beast. And then hook Lovestruck Beast up to Shadowspear, because this is still super good as a 6/6. And then pass the turn. Opponent's down to 12. They can't really attack in. They can't really chain off some cards either. Last card in hand, an Embercleave. Like, my opponent should be attacking these robbers at this point and just sacking some robbers. And now, especially with Torbrand, yeah, that's definitely attacking in here. Because this puts me in a terrible position. That's almost lethal at this point. My opponent is being very... I don't know. I don't like this play at all. We, however, are also in a predicament. With this land. So I could still lose this. I think what we're going to do is just tack with the Lovestruck Beast. No, we're not. We're going to hook up the... We're two cards shorts with the Vantress Gargoyle. I'm going to hook up the most potential life linking on the Regisar. And we have to pass a turn. I'd like to be aggressive, but Torbrand can just one-shot us now. We want multiple blockers. My opponent was too chicken to attack in last turn. So I'm assuming my opponent's going to be the same this turn. We also can make a Gilded Goose life. So our life total is actually at 25. So that's actually pretty good. So if my opponent does attack in, we can get rid of 2 Robber the Riches. I think these robbers should have been attacking in. I don't know if they would have found anything relevant, but yeah. It's anyone's game at this point. Worst case scenario is Embercleave was dropped off the top because Embercleave can now first strike down and do a lot of damage to a card. Good news though is Vantress Gargoyle we can start doing Vantress Gargoyle Shadowspear, and that's a 2-turn clock. Opponent has to attack. You had to attack in there, my friend. You had to. You can't sit back like this and expect to win. Hey, there's our buddy Euro. We get a nice from our opponent. And now do we get a rope from our opponent? No, okay, our opponent seems pretty okay. Hey, we are drawing the lands like crazy. Wait, is our opponent... We still can't attack. Still can't quite attack with the... we can sack it. We can get rid of everything, though. All right, what awesome card can we hit off the top? That's actually pretty good. Now, do I want to attack in with the Regisar? Is there a chance my opponent can, like... No, I'm going to save the 8 life back. I don't think I do need to quite attack in. Possibly that's the wrong play. But we have the Vantress Gargoyle now. Yeah, you have to attack in. There's... you got to, like, pray like your Robber Riches find something good. So now, though, we can just shift over to the Vantress Gargoyle. Attack with the Gargoyle. Go up to 32. Oh, those have reach. Hey, hey, look at these robbers. They have reach. That's fine, though. Is this actually going to trade? Yep, it does trade. And then throw in the grave, equip over to the Shadowspear, and call it good. Now we can make a food token. We're at 32. It's going to be hard for my opponent to one-shot me down at this point. Now I put a strong into lands. There's your Arena Shuffler for you. So they had 4 lands there for quite a while, and now they're going to start hitting up to where they should be at this point. Yeah, at this point now, we throw the Shadowspear over to the Euro and start attacking in. Let's discard some cards. There we go. Land. Equip over to Euro. Attacking with Euro, we'll go up to 35. Still can't get Polukranos back. And is it even relevant? We'll shock ourselves. Oh, yeah, I can't even... That's fine. Like, because the first strike is actually going to kill off... Yeah, it's going to kill off Euro. So we actually are kind of at a stalemate with that castle. Except Euro's fine here. Especially with the secondary one. And it's going to eventually ramp us out of range. Yuck. We do not like that Shadowspear. The secondary one, it will just end up getting discarded. Go ahead and equip on another Rotting Regisar. And pass the turn up. Need to find a Great Henge. Annex is huge, so now Annex Embercleave is going to be rough. Ay, ay, ay. My opponent still really can't attack in, though. We need to get some cards in the graveyard for Polukranos, I would assume. Opponent still now can't really attack in. Yeah, if we get it on Polukranos, Polukranos can just shoot down Torburin, and then we should be fine. Wonder if there's a light up the stage in my opponent's hand. That's why they're like deciding if they want to attack him with Scorching Spitfire. Like it's a really weird attack with Scorching Spitfire because it gets in for 3, but then I gain 8. Let's go ahead and just make another food token. And the Shadowspear goes to the graveyard. Timrit will be fine. This will scry us a bazillion if, well, actually not a bazillion, and we'll scry us 4 at the end of this completion. Kind of weird. I don't want to really get rid of anything here, but we'll just get rid of Vantress for a 2/2. And I think that Polukranos is actually better than a Euro. And I have to get rid of everything for Polukranos. Oof. I don't want to get rid of a Euro, actually. So we'll actually keep a Polukranos. See if that ends up being the right play. Like, Polukranos probably is the right play. Alright, this will give us some more stuff in the graveyard. And this is going to give us a ton of life now with the Timrit. We're going to be up to 41. Yeah, 41 is still super good. Embercleave is strong on this Annex, though. It's pretty buff on the Annex. With 3 cards in the Graver, though, so I could actually choose not to exile something, and then just have Pelucranos. Opponent decides not to do anything. We can't really do anything here with our cards. Our Regisar finds nothing but a land off the top now. And do we even want another zombie? I think so. I think it's fine. Let's go Island. And still can't attack in with Euro. We'll actually just leave it this time around and pass. Like, the more I give my red opponent time to build up, the scarier it does get. Because Torbrand Annex can do some really nutty stuff. So, force out the Embercleave here. With blocking with just a Triton? Or do I want to block with just a Lovestruck Beast? I think we just block with a Lovestruck Beast. So the thing is, like, so what is it? The Embercleave puts it up to additional, so it's a 12. So I don't want to block with everything. I want to find Great Henge. So we'll force it out here. So Embercleave will come down. But this also allows us to attack in next turn. So that's fine. We take a bunch of damage. For funsies here, let's make a food token. Gain a ton of life. We're going to scry and gain a ton of life the following turn. And we can actually attack in now without the first strike stuff. And that will actually force out my opponent to make some blocks. And then they can't do this double blocking Fervent Champion stuff. So we're up to 50. And we're going to take an additional 13 and go down to 27. 25. Oh, because it, yeah, absorbed another. Okay. But now we go to our turn. We get to scry a bunch. That is not the card I wanted. Yikes. There's Great Henge. So we're going to throw everything away except for the Great Henge. And we'll get to draw it here as well. Like, I can go Pelucranos and actually... now, let's go ahead and go to attacks next. And we'll attack with these two guys. We'll force out some blocks. We could actually attack with this other Rotting Regisar. Don't want to attack the rest when they just get first strike down. Now, we'll leave these ones back. There's our Great Henge. See where our opponent decides to block. We're going to be gaining 8 life most likely. So the Fervent Champions can't first strike down the Rotting Regisar unless there's a Bone Crusher Giant. The opponent has to block. I do believe there's probably a Bone Crusher Giant in my opponent's hand. Unfortunately. Ends up being a really grindy matchup. Jeez. Only 7 lands by my opponent, though. They're 8 lands total. Yeah, that's about right. So the first strike damage, yeah, there's Bone Crusher for sure. Here comes the Bone Crusher. Rimrock. Yeah, okay. That's just as good as Bone Crusher. So I don't gain any. But opponent goes down to a 2. We get to put out Great Henge. And Pelucranos. And Pelucranos can actually fight something here. Pelucranos will come in as a 13/13 and draw a card. And I could fight like Torbrand, no problem. I could actually hook up Shadowspear to Pelucranos. It doesn't matter what we do here. We're at 35. And unfortunately, I can't hook up Shadowspear because we did use our mana. I will pass the turn. Might end up having just to Pelucranos off Annex. Ugh. Could there be another Rimrock Giant in here? Oh, that's just frustrating. We'll just fight Annex. I'm sure my opponent's got another one in hand. Wanted to gain a bunch of life off of it, but we should be able to cast Pelucranos again. We're drawing a bunch of cards next turn. It's going to be very tough for my opponent to get out of this. Gets 2 creatures with Torbrand. And, well, Annex like crazy in the graveyard, so we milled him. That's right. And then just going to cast the Rimrock. I actually still feel like we might not have this one. Ambercleave on... Oh, that was kind of weird. Because now can't... Oh, because the first strike can block down everything Euro. Yeah, we can go to my turn. And we'll discard a Shadowspear. So we're out of Shadowspears now. Let's get a Fabled Passage out of the way before we run out of actual targets. That's actually quite nice, though, because it gives us another card in the graveyard. We can just grab a Swamp at this point. This allows us for a Rotting Regisaur, which is an 8/7 and 2 life, and a Gilded Goose. So this is where the Great Henge can really get out of control. It's also giving us blockers here. Yep, a Triton, which mills. Find Pelucranos and Euro. So, block on Euro, do I care about getting like another land in the graveyard? Or land out? This Euro's not doing anything. We'll send it to a lamb to the slaughter here, just to get out another land and ramp. Another Great Henge. Opponent's definitely going to block on Euro. It doesn't really matter. They get first strike down because of these stupid Fervent Champions. And now we can get Pelucranos out again, but we're 1 mana short once again for actually fighting, right? Unless we have the Gilded Goose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, we can fight. All right, so we can get rid of Torbrand once and for all. Wait a second. Why can't I do Pelucranos? Oh, we're still in damage. I'm like, what's up with Pelucranos up in Ocast? Pelucranos. I do Great Henge and just kill a Great Henge. And nets up. Nah, we can get rid of Euro because, well, we'd have to get rid of everything here. Yeah, that's fine. We can do Great Henge into Great Henge. Also gains us 2 life. That will draw us a card. And I'm actually just going to hook up Shadowspear to Pelucranos. I think we finally have closed this one out, which is just a long match. What is this? We've been like going on this for like 35 minutes, 25 minutes. Opponent draws yet another land. There's 9 lands. Guess my opponent's about halfway through their deck, so that's right where they should be. 10 lands. 1 in the graveyard. A little above average. Do we really only have 13 cards left in our deck? We do. But, I mean, next turn we can just fight Robber of Rich, and yeah, we're good at that point. There's the, finally the scoop. I don't know, this definitely deck does need some tuning. Maybe the, why can't I think of this stupid adventure card that deals 2 damage to you and destroys a creature, Planeswalker, 2/3 lifelinker? That wouldn't be a bad card to throw in the deck. There are definitely other options that I think would be fine. But all in all, this is kind of a fun deck to play. I enjoyed it. We went, what, 50% here? I mean, not good, not bad. But, yeah, I think it's a great deck for the mono red. So if you're going up against a lot of mono red field, definitely play this deck. This has been Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder. We'll have the deck list coming shortly. Thanks for watching.